Hello, sir. I'm here now. Yes, I'm Angela. What's my real name? It's Angelina Parker, she said to the person on the other line. Then she quickly walked toward the taxi she had hailed. As soon as it stopped, she got in fast. She was a talent for various TV shows, not yet a famous actress, and she had no intention of becoming famous. All she wanted was to land extra gigs and earn money for her family. They were poor, and her mother was sick. Meanwhile, her father occasionally borrowed a car from acquaintances to drive around and earn some income. She also had 2 siblings still in school. So, when someone who introduced himself as a manager called her, she immediately rushed out. She knew that money would come from it. She arrived in front of a fancy salon where that person on the phone told her to go. She got out of the taxi and paid the driver. "Thank you, sir," she said with a slight smile, then turned away from the taxi. She took out her old cell phone. She knew there were so many trendy, beautiful phones out there at that time, but since Angela had no plan to buy such things, she just made do with her old phone. After all, she only needed it to be able to land extra gigs from managers who were looking for people to fill in at shows and movies. "Miss," she heard someone call out. A man standing in front of a red car. "Yes, sir," she asked, surprised. "Are you Angelina Parker?" he asked. She nodded twice before replying. "Oh, yes, I am. I'm Angie for short for Angelina Parker. Are you the one who spoke to me on the phone?" she asked in return. The man whom she didn't know handed her a thick envelope. She took it, and her eyes went wide. She never expected such a large amount, $20,000. "All you have to do is go into the salon and give them your name. Whenever someone asks for your name, say your full name, Angelina. After they fix you up, someone from the salon's management will call to ask if you're ready. Just make sure you act well. There's going to be a vehicle that will come to pick you up and take you to the church. You'll be acting like a bride." "Got it," he said, checking if she understood his instructions. Which show or movie is this? Is it for an indie film?" "Okay, I'll do my best so that the movie turns out great." "Thanks again for paying me," she answered, a huge grin on her lips. Then he turned his back to her, got into the red car, and left. She even waved goodbye as the car pulled away. "I need to give this my best so they'll be happy and hire me again for future projects," she told herself. She went inside the salon and mentioned her full name. She was surprised when they led her to one of the salon's bathrooms. Someone there helped bathe her. 30 minutes later, she came out of the bathroom only to discover there were other staff members waiting. Even though she was baffled about what they were doing to her, she figured there might be hidden cameras around, filming her every move and word. She chose to keep quiet. She let them guide her around as they styled her, did her makeup, pedicure, manicure, everything. Even though her confusion grew, she stayed silent, telling herself that she had to be worth what they had paid her. She left the fitting room wearing a luxurious wedding gown. She heard someone say it was made by a renowned designer. They must have spent a lot on this indie film, she thought, lifting the gown's trail with a smirk. She recalled hearing comments from people she assumed were fellow extras. "The bride's marrying a billionaire," said one of the manicurists, who had been gossiping earlier with another employee. Even though Angela thought they were just acting, she couldn't help but feel amazed. This was way too extravagant for someone like her, just an extra. But she dared not ask. She could see that what she assumed were her fellow extras were doing a really convincing job, so natural that it didn't even feel scripted. She found it amusing. "They're really good at acting. I shouldn't lose to them. If it's about performing well as an extra, I won't be left behind." She even texted her friend, who was also in Volo, while getting her feet cleaned earlier. Her ride had arrived, so she stood up. The salon's glass door opened, and to her shock, they rolled out a red carpet for her. A man in a black formal suit extended an arm to escort her out of the salon and into a fancy bridal car. She noticed the wide-open mouths and bulging eyes of the salon staff. Wow, they're all such good actors. So believable, she thought with a grin. And of course, she also did her best to look the part. She gave just a slight smile like she was really an actress about to get married. She climbed into the bridal car and remained silent as it drove away. What's my part in this movie anyway, she asked herself. After only 30 minutes, they arrived at a famous church in Manhattan, a place she had only seen on TV. She had never shot a scene in a location like that before. This was her first project that involved a wedding. I wonder what my role is. Am I really the bride here? Did they forget to mention if I'm supposed to run away or something? Maybe I'm a runaway bride who bolts, and he ends up marrying someone else, she speculated to herself. She was already walking toward the altar, scanning for the man who gave her the money, the one she assumed was a manager hiring extras for an indie film like this one. Yet, strangely, everyone around her seemed like regular people, not actors who appeared on TV. She was one step from concluding that this might be an actual wedding. Calm down, Angela. Go for the goal. Act well for the money. I just need to act. Then I'm done. Looks like they're paying me a lot for this, she thought. She caught herself smiling, which the groom noticed. Seeing her smile actually took the edge off his own nervousness. Wow, Angela, is this what money does to you now? She silently told herself. The whole atmosphere in that church was something else. She could see it wasn't a cheap wedding, and she was in awe. But whenever she thought about the cash money, she stopped feeling anxious. She didn't even notice that she was already standing in front of the altar. Moments later, a stunningly handsome man was in front of her. She couldn't help her jaw from dropping. He's so handsome. Is he a new actor? Or maybe a model, she wondered. You, young lady, do you accept this man to be with you in times of hardship? What? She blurted at the priest, looking bewildered. Excuse me, Father, may I speak with my bride first, said the man she was supposed to marry. When the priest nodded, he pulled her aside. Are you okay? He asked, giving her a serious look. Yeah, sure, she answered, though she was tense. She never thought she'd get nervous. It was, after all, her first time playing a bride role. Sorry, I'm just a bit anxious, she stammered, whispering to the man she believed was also an actor like her. He stared at her in confusion. Why does your voice sound like that? What changed? He asked. Huh? Did my voice change? Does it sound bad on camera? She glanced around, searching for wherever the camera was hidden. Don't you know you're actually about to get married? He asked. She leaned in and whispered, You do realize this is my first time acting as a bride, right? The pay's big, but the director might scold us for talking, she said naively. The man cleared his throat, then whispered, Just keep saying yes. Okay. She nodded, still confused, but followed his suggestion. The priest's sermon was long, and she almost dozed off because she was tired from her previous filming. But a moment later, she heard the priest say, You may kiss the bride. Her eyes widened as the man, whose name she heard was Charlie Henderson, lifted the veil covering her face. She stared at him wide-eyed. Don't kiss me. That wasn't in the deal, she hissed under her breath. But Charlie, looking serious, still kissed her on the lips. She was shocked because it wasn't just a quick kiss. It was intense. It was her very first kiss. She wanted to punch or slap him, but she held back, thinking he might take back the money he paid her. She glared at Charlie, who just smiled and kept looking at her. Furious, she looked around for a dressing room. That jerk. He went and did that anyway. I know that wasn't part of the arrangement. All I was told was to pretend to be a bride. Ugh, she muttered to herself, regretting she'd accepted this gig. She forgot that as a bride, getting kissed was part of the package. Mrs. Henderson, she heard the announcer call out. She didn't realize they were calling her. A man approached and led her to the front of the stage because they were about to cut the wedding cake. What? I have to do that, too, she asked, dumbfounded. But she had no choice except to walk over and go along with cutting the cake. Next came the tossing of the bridal bouquet. She tried forcing a smile, tossed the bouquet half-heartedly, and felt utterly lost. Why did this feel like a genuine wedding ceremony rather than just shooting a film? Once all the activities, church, photos, reception, and food were done, she noticed the guests leaving. Yet, she and Charlie were still there, staying at the hotel. She felt hot in her gown and wanted to change clothes. Where's the dressing room for extras, she wondered. She was startled when someone summoned her to one of the expensive suites in that hotel. "Ma'am, Mr. Charlie is calling you," said the man who'd fetched her earlier. "Wait a second, brother. Where's the dressing room for extras?" she asked. "What extras?" "Ma'am, I'm not sure I understand," he replied, looking baffled. "Ugh, never mind. I'll just ask that actor, Charlie." "Where is he?" she said, guessing the staffer knew nothing about the filming. It puzzled her that there were no cameramen or any sign of a production crew. She was astonished when they brought her to a huge suite where Charlie's entire family was present. "Oh, here she is, son. Your bride, right?" "She's Angelina, correct?" asked Mrs. Cecile Henderson, who stood beside Mr. Carl Henderson. "Yes, Mom. This is Angie, short for Angelina. Come here. Angela is your nickname, right?" Charlie said, beckoning her. Yes, that's right," she replied awkwardly, casting a glance at his parents. She liked this whole family even less now. Earlier, the guests had been leaving, people she assumed were fellow extras, and yet her scene still wasn't finished. "Is she really Angelina's son?" asked Charlie's mother, seemingly uneasy. "Yes, Mom. I recognize her voice completely." "It's definitely Angie," Charlie answered. But his parents' expressions said they sensed something was off. Still, they relented and decided to leave along with some of the other relatives. "All right, we'll call you tomorrow when we head to our vacation home in Hawaii," Charlie said politely. She grew even more uneasy, wandering her gaze around the suite. Seeing everyone depart, she assumed the shoot was wrapped up. She got to her feet and headed for the door, but Charlie blocked her path with one arm, glaring. "Where do you think you're going?" he asked sharply. Her jaw dropped. She even let out a tiny laugh. She still believed he was acting. "Wait, can't we get a break from filming?" "Sure, you paid me a good deal, but we still deserve a break or at least a few hours off." She never finished her sentence because Charlie grabbed her arm and pulled her back into the suite, slamming the door behind them and locking it. "Hey, why are you locking me in? This isn't right. Don't you want to rest? I'm exhausted." "That kiss of yours wasn't even part of the agreement." "Did you really think we were just acting?" she asked, hands on her hips. "Acting? Who told you this was just an act?" he shot back. "What do you mean?" she asked, still baffled. "This is a real wedding." "A real wedding ceremony happened earlier," Charlie said gravely. The words thundered in her ears. She couldn't believe it and felt numb. "Huh? What are you saying?" she asked again, still unable to accept it. Charlie took a seat on the sofa and looked at her. "You knew I wasn't the woman you were supposed to marry. Yet, you still fed me those lines and told me just to keep saying yes." "Meanwhile, I was too dumb to keep agreeing," she said, gesturing to herself. "We would have been humiliated, my whole family, if it came out that the bride ran away. I didn't tell Mom and Dad the truth, but I think they suspect something. They probably sense you're someone else," he explained. "Why didn't you know what your fiancé looked like?" she demanded. "I used to be blind. We were together 5 years, but it was only last year that I decided to have surgery to see. I've never actually laid eyes on my girlfriend before," he replied. "That still doesn't explain why I'm the one you married." "Me? Why me?" she pressed, sounding on the verge of hysteria. "I should be the one asking you that. Why were you the one who showed up? I sent someone to fetch Angelina. Why did you show up instead?" Charlie said as he stood again. She slumped onto the sofa in shock, letting the realization flood in. "A man gave me $20,000. He told me to do my best acting and to say my real name each time someone asked. I had no idea I was basically selling myself for $20,000, she murmured, covering her face with both hands, tears gathering in her eyes. "What am I going to do? This can't happen." I'm not the real Angelina you are supposed to marry. I need to leave. She insisted. She got up and tried to move to the door, but just then someone knocked. Charlie opened it. "Sir, here are Ms. Angelina's belongings," said the employee, handing over a worn-out shoulder bag and a rolling suitcase with rusted wheels. She saw that Charlie took them with a frown. "These are your things," he said, tossing the old shoulder bag and suitcase aside. "Hey, watch it. My phone's in there," she shouted while picking up her stuff. Suddenly, something inside her bag made a loud noise, and Charlie's eyes went wide. What was that? A bomb? Throw that bag away. It might explode, he yelled, panicking, clearly unfamiliar with the sound. She snickered and pulled the bag closer, pretending to rummage around. Then she whipped something out and held it toward him. Boom, she burst out, laughing at the terrified look on his face, his eyes and nostrils flaring. "You're unbelievable. What on earth is that thing making noise?" he demanded. "Don't be so dramatic. Haven't you ever seen a phone like this?" She shoved her phone in his face, and he took it, eyeing it curiously. "This is a cell phone. It looks vintage." "Phones like this still exist these days," he said incredulously. "Don't act so superior. Just because you probably have some fancy gadget doesn't mean you should look down on my old phone. It still works fine. It even gets a stronger signal sometimes," she snapped, once again remembering the man who gave her the money. She felt tears threatening and grabbed her belongings. "Anyway, I'm leaving now. You married the wrong person, so I need to find that guy. Maybe he knows where your real fiancé is." "What? You can't leave. You signed that paper earlier." "You really are my wife now," Charlie said flatly. "What? You know full well I'm not really Angelina. I'm Angela, just Angela. I only pulled off that bride stunt because I'm an extra," she insisted. "Well, this isn't a stunt. My life isn't a movie. If everyone finds out what really happened, my entire family will be disgraced." "I can't let that happen," he responded. Her eyes narrowed, lips parted in disbelief. "Then what exactly do you want me to do?" she demanded, hands on her hips. "Act like my wife starting now. You can't leave my side. Wherever I go, you go. That's what a wife does. Takes care of her husband and fulfills her duties. Including in bed. Understand," he said, arms crossed. She swallowed hard, glancing at Charlie's towel-clad, half-naked frame. "Why are you dressed like that? Put on some clothes." "One wrong move, and your bird might fly out," she hissed. At first, he frowned, not getting her meaning, so she pointed at the bulge under his towel. Charlie quickly placed a hand over himself, brow furrowed. "Oh, is that what you want to see then?" he teased, giving her a mischievous grin. She grimaced. "You're wrong about me. I won't sell my freedom. I can earn money on my own for my family." "Marriage is nowhere in my plans, period," she retorted, turning her back on him. But Charlie swiftly grabbed her arm and forced her down onto the sofa. "Don't you get it? I could file a case against you for impersonation. You must have accomplices. I used to be blind, so I had no clue what my fiancé looked like. I could claim you did something to her just so you could steal her identity and trick me," he threatened, hands on his hips. "The nerve! Now it's my fault. I'm just an extra in TV shows and movies. Why is my life turning upside down like this?" she cried, tugging at her hair. "You still can't leave. Everyone in this hotel knows you as my wife." "That's final," Charlie stated, walking to the door, double-checking the lock. She looked around, searching for another way out. She had to escape somehow, not remain trapped in a situation she could never walk away from. "It's now or never," she told herself. She moved to jump off the balcony, but arms yanked her back inside, toppling them both. They lost balance, and Charlie fell with her. "What are you doing? Leave me alone. Aren't you ashamed of yourself marrying the wrong woman just because you don't want to be embarrassed?" "You're a coward," Angela shouted. "You're the crazy one," Charlie said, scrambling to his feet. He dragged her by the hand back into the suite's living area, letting go of her so she fell onto the carpet. Don't you understand that my family's honor is at stake? I don't want to be humiliated in front of all those guests. It's not like I want you, woman, but I have to swallow my pride for them, he barked, pointing an accusing finger at her. Well, you need to understand that my family might not be prominent, but they have empty stomachs. What happens to them without me? I'm the only one supporting them. Don't you get it? She shot back, glaring up at him. So, what? You're going to jump anyway? We're on the 10th floor, you know. 10th floor? Charlie emphasized. 10th floor, she gasped, not realizing they were so high up. Good thing I stopped you. I don't want your brain splattered on the sidewalk, he said coldly. She clenched her fists. All right, fine. But this can't continue, she countered. Let's make a deal. 5 million. Is that enough? Asked Charlie. What? She practically choked out. 5 million in exchange for you staying married to me. Wherever I go, you go because that's what a wife does, right? You have to take care of me and do your wifely duties, including in bed, he stated, standing in front of her with arms folded. She swallowed hard, eyes drawn to his muscled torso, wrapped only in a towel. What's with that outfit? Put some clothes on. One wrong move, and your little bird might fly off, she blurted, exasperated. He frowned at first, but then realized what she meant and covered himself. Oh, so that's what you're interested in, he teased, flashing her a playful smile. Wrong. I won't sell my freedom for that. I can still work to support my family, and marriage has never been in my plans, she snapped, turning away. Charlie abruptly hoisted her over his shoulder like a sack of rice. What are you doing? Put me down, you jerk, she shrieked, pounding on his back. He secured her by the thighs, flipping her body so she was draped over his shoulder. Shut up. You're too noisy. I won't let this marriage, which I spent months preparing for, get ruined, he retorted, tossing her onto the bed. What are you planning to do? She demanded, eyes narrowing. She watched him peel off his t-shirt, and she swallowed hard. Stop. We can't do that. I won't agree, she protested, eyes squeezed shut, bracing herself. But after a few seconds, she peeked one eye open and saw he was simply lying face down next to her. Huh? What are you doing? She asked, baffled. What does it look like? I'm lying on my stomach, he said. But why are you lying on your stomach? She repeated. Because I want to rest. Now be quiet for a while. You're too chatty, he grumbled. She stared at him, confused. His response was the opposite of what she'd expected. Momentarily relieved, she tried to sneak away, but he shifted position again and pulled her closer, half draping his arm over her, pinning her down. Stop squirming. Relax. I'm not going to do anything to you right now. I'm giving you a break. But in the coming days, you won't have a choice if I decide otherwise, he whispered, his breath hot against her neck. She felt a sudden, dizzying jolt, her entire body tingling. Before she lost herself, she shoved him away. Perv. She slapped him hard across the face, but Charlie only gave her a wry smile and shook his head. By the next day, they flew to Hawaii, arriving quickly by private helicopter. Her suspicions were confirmed. Charlie was extremely wealthy. She clenched her hands in secret, plotting a way to escape him if ever she got the chance. He insisted on buying her an absurd amount of things, even though she didn't want them, claiming that as the daughter of a rich family, it would look strange if she carried around old belongings. This is our vacation home, he explained as they drove into a large property, the gates swinging open to reveal a sprawling yard. Mr. Charlie, happy wedding, sir. Hope you two have a baby soon, joked Mr. Williams, the caretaker, as he waved them in. Oh, Mr. Williams, you'll make my wife shy, Charlie teased back, though he playfully high-fived the old caretaker. Angela forced a polite smile. She walked inside and glimpsed a blue swimming pool out back. Part of her wanted to jump in and let herself drown. Anything to escape. It wasn't about the money. It was about her freedom. She hated being told what to do. And for her, men were the ultimate intrusion on her life. She had no desire to serve Charlie, look after him, or do any of the wifely duties society expected. Angelina, come in here. I want you to cook something, then take a shower because we have something to do. I don't like delaying things I can get immediately, he ordered, his tone suggestive. Her eyebrows shot up. Ugh, you're disgusting, she fumed, hands on hips. Why? What did you expect from the man you married? Don't tell me you think a husband waits on his wife's whims. One of the main reasons a guy gets married is to have all those benefits, and it's a wife's job to provide them. You realize that, don't you? Even girlfriends do a lot for their boyfriends. How much more for spouses? Charlie shot back, emphasizing that last word. Oh, so you think my body is part of this $5 million arrangement you proposed? The $5 million is just for that forced kiss you gave me. Now you're going to claim my body as well. Isn't that convenient for you? She spat, turning her back on him. Oh, is that so? He swept her off her feet again like she weighed nothing. What the? Put me down, she flailed, trying to free herself as he carried her. Shut it. I won't let the wedding I planned for months go to waste, Charlie insisted, dumping her onto the bed with a thump. What are you going to do now? She demanded, eyes darting around for an escape. He started removing his shirt again. So she swallowed nervously, bracing herself. Stop. I refuse to do this. I refuse, she shouted, squeezing her eyes shut. After a moment of silence, she carefully opened them and saw him lying on his stomach again. Huh? What are you doing? She asked, confused. I'm lying here, obviously, he grumbled. But why are you lying like that? She prodded. Because I want to rest. I'm tired, and I want you right here beside me, Charlie answered. That's an order. I thought you wanted me to cook dinner, she asked in annoyance, stiff under his muscular arm as it draped across her chest, almost choking her. She stayed still and listened to his breathing. Within minutes, she could tell he was drifting off. She tried gently moving his arm to slip away, but he turned again and held her tighter. Don't move. I'm letting you off the hook for now, but next time you won't have a say, he whispered. His warm breath on her neck gave her goosebumps. She snapped her eyes shut, a wave of electric sensation flooding her body. You really are something else. I didn't do anything to deserve this, but I'm the one who's scared and miserable. All I wanted was a job, she said, voice shaking. You can't leave. You're my wife, so you belong to me. Like it or not, he repeated softly, bringing his face closer to her ear. She wanted to argue back, tell him it was her life, that no one could force her to do anything, but the closeness of his body and the warmth of his breath left her momentarily speechless. She took a deep breath. The tension in the room hung heavily, but she was too exhausted to resist any further. The next day, they went around Hawaii, visiting various spots. They spent days going to amusement parks and arcade games in the malls instead of heading to the famous beaches. It baffled Angela because she knew how gorgeous the islands were. Yet, Charlie made no effort to take her there. Aren't we ever going to the beach or even island hopping? It's so nice to swim in the sea or explore the islands, she asked him, puzzled. Nope. We're just going to eat here and play, he replied, pounding on one of the arcade claw machines. I'm out of tokens, and I haven't won a single stuffed toy. This thing must be rigged, he growled, threatening to break the machine. Hey, calm down. Don't destroy that. You'll have to pay for it, she scolded him. But I've run out of tokens and haven't even won anything. It's cheating me. I should smash it, Charlie insisted, still hitting the glass. Knock it off. Hand me your tokens. But I want something in return. Promise me that if I manage to get 5 stuffed toys in a row, we'll finally go to a nice beach resort or do some island hopping, she challenged him. Sure, let's see if you can do it. If you can get 5 in a row from that machine, plus the others, I'll do what you want, he answered, crossing his arms. All right, you asked for it. This is easy. I used to play these arcade claw machines all the time back home, she said, taking the tokens and focusing intently. Charlie's eyes widened when she actually snatched a few stuffed animals. They moved to another machine, and she caught more. "Wow, you're pretty good at that," he said, slinging an arm around her shoulder as they picked up their prizes. He was practically holding her hand as they left the arcade. She felt a twinge of something strange, like a spark of warmth at his protective hold on her. It felt as if he didn't want to let her wander on her own. They saw many wonderful places, and Charlie finally fulfilled her wish to go to a beach resort. However, they never expected that some of Charlie's relatives would see them there, particularly his male cousins, who used to bully him back when he was blind. They approached wearing smug smiles. "Well, Charlie, fancy seeing you here." "Guess fate wanted us to cross paths," said Troy Henderson, eyeing Angela from head to toe. She was relieved her swimsuit was decent enough, though her figure was undeniably attractive. Troy had two women with him, both in skimpy outfits. "Oh, there's a little pool party later. We'll see if you've learned to swim after you got your vision back," Troy teased Charlie. "Sure thing. I'll see you at the Henderson 5-star hotel," Charlie said, swallowing hard as he answered his cousin. Angela noticed how Charlie suddenly looked pale in their presence. "You okay? You look nervous," she asked. "I'm fine." "Why'd you ask?" he replied, clearing his throat. "I don't know. You just went a bit pale, that's all," she said. "It's nothing. By the way, do you have a nicer swimsuit? You only have these. Didn't I buy you a bunch?" He changed the subject, referencing the huge pile of swimsuits he'd gotten for her. She rolled her eyes. "You're so forgetful. You were the one who picked out everything. Stuff I don't even like. Tell me what's going on. Do you have issues with swimming or something?" "If I hadn't insisted, we wouldn't even be here," she said, shaking her head. "It's cold. I need a little something to warm me up," he murmured, flashing her a playful wink as if trying to seduce her. She knew exactly what he was implying. It's not really like that, Angela thought to herself that evening. It seemed as though Charlie had no desire to attend his cousin Troy's pool party, even though Troy was the one who spotted them and invited them. "Why are you acting like this?" she asked Charlie, as if they'd known each other for ages. They had, after all, been living under the same roof for a month now. She was starting to get a sense of his personality and knew how to deal with him. Angela had always been flexible and quick to adapt, given the many types of people she'd worked with as an extra. They'd been there for an hour already, but Charlie was still wearing just a tank top and simple shorts. Troy's group approached them, all smirking as they drew near. "Oh, Charlie, still traumatized by the water, huh? You afraid history will repeat itself? Remember how you were blinded for years after nearly drowning?" Troy sneered. "You were 18 when that happened, right? Ironically, you used to be an ace swimmer. People called you Charlie the Great back then. Now look at you, a Charlie who's tucked his tail between his legs." He glared mockingly at them. Angela was taken aback. She never knew that a near-drowning incident could damage someone's eyesight. Then again, she hadn't known much about Charlie's past. She gently placed a hand on the man who'd accidentally become her husband, feeling a small rush of pity for him. Yet the look Charlie gave her was firm and serious, as if to say he needed not her pity, only understanding. "Come on, sweetheart. Let's just go somewhere else," Angela murmured, grasping Charlie's hand more tightly. "Not so fast," Troy cut in. "We're having a swimming contest, and Charlie here already said yes," he added, folding his arms across his chest. "When exactly did you plan this event?" Angela retorted, also crossing her arms and raising an eyebrow at Troy's arrogance. "Don't meddle. You probably think I don't know your little secret, huh? I know who the real Angelina was. You can't fool me." "You're the only one who was blind, Charlie," Troy growled under his breath as he leaned in toward Charlie. His hushed voice might have been soft, but his message made Charlie's jaw clench with anger. "Oh, is that it?" Charlie grounded out. "Where do you want to do this, Troy? Name the time and place." "Right now, blind boy," Troy mocked, then turned away with a burst of laughter, heading over to the swimming pool's deepest end. That part was about 9 feet deep. Angela's eyes widened. Charlie, can you manage this? It's okay if you don't do it right. Don't let him get to you. If you back out, so what? He'll humiliate you anyway, she whispered, anxious. Those types of people lie even if they lose. So why bother? I can't back down, Charlie replied. I don't want him insulting you in front of everyone. You're my wife. You're the one I married. You're not fake. You're not pretending. Okay, he emphasized, turning away to head for the pool. Angela stood there stunned, watching him go. That stubborn man, she murmured, raking her fingers through her hair, but she couldn't simply remain behind and let anything bad happen to him. Of course, she wanted him to come out on top in front of all those onlookers. By the time both men were poised to dive in, Angela was already bracing herself for the worst. It was a pretty long swim, and who knew what trouble might arise? Ugh, whatever. If anything goes wrong, I'll dive in to help Charlie, she told herself. Okay, the race starts now, announced someone, and Troy immediately launched himself into the pool first. You ready to lose, Charlie? Troy taunted. But before Charlie could jump in, Angela was suddenly shoved off balance and toppled into the water. She wasn't prepared, so she flailed, struggling to surface. Charlie, help, she managed to cry out. Charlie's eyes went wide at the sight of his wife going under. Andrea. In his desperation to save her, Charlie instinctively swam after her, forcing himself to conquer his fear of the water. In one burst of adrenaline, he forgot all about his trauma. He reached Andrea in no time, pulling her up. Sweetheart, Andrea, are you okay? Please answer me, Charlie shouted as he dragged her toward the pool's edge with the help of a couple of bystanders. Someone stepped in, offering to do CPR with mouth to mouth, but Charlie shoved the volunteer aside. Are you crazy? She's my wife, he growled. Fine, you do it. Just hurry, or she might die. The man backed off, and Charlie immediately performed CPR himself. A few pumps later, Andrea coughed up the water she'd swallowed and was finally able to sit upright. She was shocked when Charlie grabbed her into a hug, overcome with concern. You scared me, Andrea, he murmured. I'm sorry, she managed to say weakly. That wasn't the plan. Some jerk pushed me from behind, she added. Yo, Charlie, you running from our race? Troy's voice cut in. Charlie glared at his cousin and strode over to him, socking him with a single punch. Then he returned to the starting point by the pool, ready to swim. Come on, let's finish this and end your bragging, he snapped. Troy scowled but headed back to his place at the edge of the pool. At this point, Andrea was no longer worried. She knew Charlie had conquered his fear of swimming in deep water. Go, babe. You can do it, Andrea cheered, determined to bolster her husband's confidence. She saw him smile, fearless, as he prepared himself for the race. He didn't disappoint. He handily beat his arrogant cousin. When they climbed out of the pool, Troy's expression was sour, but he extended a hand. Welcome back, Charlie the Great, Troy said with a grin. Charlie accepted the handshake, and they even patted each other's backs. The men in Troy's crowd hooped and hollered, tossing Charlie into the pool again in celebration. Andrea realized they'd done all of that so Charlie would finally return to swimming. Ever since he lost his sight back then, he had completely lost confidence, forgetting he actually had loved ones who cared about him. Now that she saw how happy Charlie was, Andrea realized it might be the perfect chance for her to slip away. She guessed Charlie wouldn't know where to find her if she disappeared. Dusk was approaching, and she knew traveling back from Hawaii to the mainland wouldn't be easy for him on short notice. Sure enough, when Charlie got home, she and all her belongings were gone. Charlie didn't know what to do. He flew back to New York, but he never found her in Hawaii again. Upon returning to the Henderson mansion, Charlie's parents immediately told him they already knew the truth, that the woman he had married wasn't really Angelina Henderson, the wealthy, sophisticated fiancée they'd arranged. That wedding of yours is invalid, they said. Says who? She's the only woman I'll ever marry. Nobody else, Charlie fired back. But, son, his mother replied, we've already found the real Angelina. Charlie, a woman called. He recognized that voice instantly. It was indeed the real Angelina. You knew I wasn't that woman you were expecting. So why did you proceed with the wedding? She asked. Because I didn't want my family embarrassed, Charlie began. But that was only my initial reason. Now, if I could go back to that moment, I'd still choose to marry her, even if I found out she wasn't the Angelina I knew before. She's worth marrying. I'm sure of it. Even if we only live together for a month, he said in front of his parents and his former fiancée. All right, I know where you can find her, Angelina said. But can you accept what her life is really like? Yes, I can. Please help me, Charlie implored. Andrea, meanwhile, was staying in a low-income neighborhood in Chicago where her family lived. She managed to return using the money given to her by the man who had recruited her. Ugh, sis, you should have just accepted the offer from that rich husband of yours. It was such a waste, said Jennifer, watching Andrea do the laundry. Ever since that so-called indie film Andrea attended, no other gig had come her way. Come on, Jen, stop bugging me about it. I'd rather just do laundry for money. At least there's no danger in that, Andrea said, vigorously wringing out a shirt before tossing it into a nearby basin. Just then, one of their neighbors, who was also an acquaintance from Andrea's days as a TV extra, shouted to her, Hey, Andrea, there's a gig that pays big. $20,000. You just have to act like you're selling goods while fighting off gangsters. You in? The neighbor called, trying to persuade her. What do they want me for? There are plenty of other women around, right? Andrea grumbled. They specifically want you. You're a seasoned pro at these acting jobs. Who knows? It might be your big break, Sylvia said with a wink. Stepping outside, they saw a small crowd gathered, like there really was a film shoot going on. What on earth this time? Andrea muttered. Why am I always ending up in these indie projects? Just let it be. They're paying well, Sylvia replied, guiding her toward the director. But as soon as Andrea got there, a group of strange men approached her. You are you? Angelina Parker, demanded one of them. What? No, I'm Andrea, she yelled, suddenly nervous. Yeah, that's you, Angelina Parker. Come on. Without warning, they picked her up. The guy was so huge that Andrea couldn't break free, no matter how much she struggled. Hey, let me go, you lunatics. Andrea, she screamed. Help her. Sylvia pretended to panic, but Andrea noticed her friend smirking and simply waving goodbye in the end. Good luck on your honeymoon, Sylvia murmured with a grin. Sylvia, what is going on? Where's my sister? Jennifer cried from behind. Ah, leave your sister be. She's a grown woman now. That rich guy who's her husband left some money, so no worries, Sylvia replied, laughing with the rest. While Andrea kicked and thrashed like a sack of rice being thrown into a van. Inside, a man sat with his legs crossed, wearing dark sunglasses. What is going on? Andrea thought. He didn't speak to her. He simply gestured to the driver to start the engine. Furious, she began pounding on him, not recognizing him at first. Ow. Hey, watch it. You've got a heavy swing, the man snapped. You? Andrea stammered. Yes, me. After you left me without a word, my life went haywire. I even turned into a mafia boss, he said, dead serious. What? Quit lying. Whether I left or not, it was my choice, Andrea retorted. Too bad, because ready or not, our honeymoon is happening, and I'm not letting you refuse. I'm going to get you pregnant, the man declared. Andrea's jaw nearly dropped at his boldness. You think I'm just going to let that happen, she shouted. You've got some nerve. You were the one who left me in the middle of the. He cut her off. So now I'm the bad guy? You basically ditched me on our honeymoon, and you expect me to be calm? Never again will I let you leave. Like it or not, we're going away together, he said. Deep inside, though, Andrea felt a flutter. She missed him, too. She realized she had fallen in love with him, especially in the weeks they'd been apart.